Hello and welcome to the third and final edition of our January Jumpstart webinar series. My name is Sammy Morger and I'm broadcasting to you today live from Crowdfunder HQ here in Newquay. You may be able to hear that there's a bit of a storm going on outside the window. So if you can hear some howling and some rain lashing against the window, that is very much what's going on outside right now. So we're going to get straight started today with a quick recap from the last session. Let me just flip this over here. There we go, fantastic. So for those of you that tuned in to the first session, we were talking about planning your project. And if you missed that, you can watch that back either on YouTube or by heading to crowdfunder.co.uk/jumpstart. The second session, which was on Tuesday, we were talking about creating your project. So the perfect project page and all of the things that go into that. Again, if you missed that session, you can catch up by heading to that Jumpstart page again and clicking through into YouTube from there. So today, we're talking about running your project. So what happens when you launch it? How do you get pledges? How do you go from £0 to hitting your target? And there's 4 things that we're going to focus on sort of through the session today. Each bit is all about connecting up with your audience essentially and making sure that you're getting the right messages to them in the right way and making sure that you've got a plan really. I think that's very much the key. So starting with the fundamentals, you should recognise this from part 3 of the January Jumpstart pack. This is a phrase that anyone that I work with will hear me say again and again. You know, it's almost sort of a bit of a joke here in the office that I say this sort of 10 times a day. And there's a reason for that. So start from the middle and work your way out is absolutely the key. It's all about starting with your core network, getting some backing on there, getting some support, and then letting it snowball from there. The approach of the kind of the big red button approach, of what I call it, where you hit go and then you blast out emails and put it all over social media and send out press releases, that way doesn't actually tend to work so well unless you're already super established and have a super warmed up database or customer base. Really, it's about showing that you've got a bit of support and building that credibility before you try and tap into those wider audiences. It's really tricky to do that right from the word go. So that's why we really need to rely on people to get you out the starting gates and get to 10%, 20%, 30% very quickly. So don't panic when you put your projects live. If it doesn't suddenly have hundreds of backers, that's perfectly normal. It's fine, you've got a plan to get there. So this weekend, I would definitely focus on figuring out who those people are who are going to support you, who's that core network, and really make sure that you've got their support in the bag. So again, you should recognise this from the January Jumpstart pack. Some key things I would say, again, to do this weekend, 2 things really. First one would be to set up a virtual event on Facebook. That's a really good way to get that core support together. Set that up, everyone gets a notification. Great, they're already told about it. Keep that event really simple. Just let people know that you're launching a crowdfunding project and have some strong imagery in there. Anyone else as well, of course, that you can get to invite their contacts along, even better. Second thing is to have a look at your content. See what images you've got, what video clips perhaps testimonials, good reviews from customers. Make sure that you've got plenty of content ready to put out once your project is live. Ideally, some new stuff that people haven't seen before. So if you're looking through your folders and thinking, all I've got, has already sort of been out and used before, this weekend is probably the time to grab some new content, take some new pictures, get out and about with your smartphone and take a couple of little videos. That's really where we need to be ready for the launch. So again, heading over to the pack, you should have a copy of this communication checklist. So I've printed off my version here and I've started to just fill it out, which I'm sure you can see some of the numbers in here. So it's really useful just to go through and start to look at those numbers and make a bit of an idea as to what your approach is going to be. So you can put, see for me on Facebook, I've got 1,000 friends on Facebook, and I'm going to create a virtual event, and I'm going to send a load of private messages to all of my closest family and friends, all of those group chats that I'm in. So I'm going to get that done. Once you've got all this together, and actually, these numbers are really helpful, of course, when revisiting things like where you should be putting the most effort. What I'd start to do is map that into that calendar. Some of you may recognise this from the first session. So I've added in, here that I'm going to put that save the date thing on Facebook. I'm going to do that tomorrow, for example. So this is good. So at a snapshot, just at a glance, I can see what it is that I've got planned. Now, you should plan to have at least one thing going out every day. Try and switch between different audiences as well, and also different mediums. So if you've got Facebook, email, and maybe something on Twitter or Instagram, make sure that you're alternating between them. You're not just trying to hit the same audiences again and again. Okay. So if you only have a limited amount of time to make your crowdfunding project a success, these 3 things are absolutely where you should focus that time, okay? Email is so important. I think it's almost, people underestimate how important it is for driving, particularly that early support. 40% of pledges across the Crowdfunder platform come in via email. And don't be afraid to send more than one. To you, it may feel like that you're banging on about the same thing for too long, or you feel like you're spamming your friends. But actually, I don't know about you, but I get around about 20 emails a day that don't go into my junk box. So there's a lot of noise that you're competing with. So definitely send follow-ups and name drop people who have pledged on the project. So if you're sending an email to everyone in your family, but actually, your mum and your Auntie Susan have pledged, fantastic, name drop them, so that other people in the family, it's that gentle nudge and reminder that they still need to get on and do it. In terms of social media, of course, we know this is a really, really huge driver of pledges. Around about 30 to 40% of pledges across the site come through social media, and the vast majority of those are through Facebook. Whilst you'll find that your project page will probably be getting a lot of hits through things like Twitter, in terms of actually converting to pledges, finalised money in the bank, Facebook is really the one that does it. So definitely focus on that, above all other things. And of course, on your website, you want to make sure that it's pointing everyone who visits that site to look at your business or your product. For the 2 weeks that your project is live, it should be pointing everyone straight to your crowdfunder. Once you've got that core support and you're starting to snowball and you're looking at actually widening your crowd, there's an absolute endless list of things that you can do. But really make sure that you're focused on gathering all that core support as much as you can beforehand. Particularly if your project is local, you'll want to do things in your local area. Actually, if the location is less relevant, it might be that you'll want to tap up bloggers or look at certain Twitter hours, things like that, for widening that network. But make sure that you're really waiting until sort of the second week to start doing those things. If you start going too early, you run the risk of driving traffic to your page who are then put off by how little support you've got so far. Really, a minimum is sort of 30% before you want to start driving too much sort of wider traffic who've never heard of you before to that page. Final thing to say on running your project, do keep a close eye on your Crowdfunder dashboard. Once your project is live, you'll see that that dashboard actually flips and it shows you all sorts of information, just like this. So you can see which days you've been getting how many page views, or pledges, the source of your pledges, which rewards are making you the most money. It's an absolute honeypot of data. You can download all of that as a spreadsheet as well if you prefer to work that way. Worth me mentioning at this point as well that once your project is live, we're going to be running a live surgery session on the 23rd. That's going to be 2:30 till 3:30. That's a Monday. So anyone who's part of January Jumpstart and is live at that point, it's going to be a drop-in session where you can ask us questions, get advice, figure out what it is that you should do next. And we're going to send out some more info on how that's going to work very, very soon. So here we are. We've made it. We're ready to go live. Hopefully you've done the planning. You started creating your project page. You may have even finished it and refined it. So a couple of key things for everyone who's in January Jumpstart. You're all going to need to be live at the latest by 5 p.m. on Monday the 16th. It's fine for you to go live before then if you're ready, but you have to be live by 5 p.m. Monday the 16th in order to be part of the campaign. All the projects are going to close at the same time as well. That's going to be 5 p.m. on Monday the 30th. So it's going to be a 2-week campaign. If you end up going live early, that's absolutely fine. We'll go through manually and change everyone's close date so that they all close at the same time. And that time, at 5 p.m. Monday the 30th, is when we're going to be checking who's won the extra funding, who's got the most backers and the biggest crowd. So that's the time to really focus your energy into when you're looking at your calendars. You're all going to be appearing beautifully on the January Jumpstart page. That's going to flip over and change into a campaign page. It's really important to get off to a good start. And because all the projects are going to be appearing on that page, there's a bit of a cumulative impact of lots of entrepreneurs all driving traffic, driving their own networks and their own audiences to that one page, that you can actually benefit from having a bit of that traffic as well. It will really create a buzz that we've got all of these kind of entrepreneurial cool projects live at the same time. Don't think about it as being in competition, because that's not really the way it tends to work. Actually, you tend to find that actually you're reaching bigger audiences. And of course, the team here at Crowdfunder are going to be doing our own things across the socials and other bits and bobs to help amplify what you guys are doing as well. Final thing, if you do have any questions, anything that you're not sure about, anything that's come up or that we haven't covered in this session or in the packs, please do get in touch on Twitter. You can reach us at Crowdfunder UK, and we'll be online for about the next half an hour to an hour, just checking messages regularly. Otherwise, we're pretty much always online anyway, so do just shoot us a message over. Best of luck, everyone, in getting your pages together, and I hope to see you all live very soon. Thanks.